Vietnam is in the center of Southeast Asia. Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam, and Ho Chi Minh City, the economic hub of the nation, are just within a 2 to 4 hour plane trip from Singapore, Bangkok, Manila, Kuala Lumpur, or Beijing, and just 5 to 6 hour flight from Tokyo and Seoul. During the past 3 decades, Vietnam is a typical example of success in terms of development. Thanks to the Doi Mới policy, since 1986, Vietnam has shifted from its centrally planned economy into a market-oriented multi-sector economy. For 20 years, the Vietnamese economy managed to maintain the growth rate of 6 to 7.5% per annum, the world's second highest, turning Vietnam into a middle-income country within just a quarter of a century. 43 million people have successfully escaped poverty within the past 15 years. The scale of the economy has exceeded $200 billion. In order to become an economic hub of the region and join the global value chain, Vietnam prioritizes development based on the 3 pillars, namely institutional reform, infrastructure development, and high-quality human resource. In terms of institutional reform, Vietnam recently amended law on enterprises and law on investment for more transparency, freedom, and fairness. Currently, except for the 6 banned business activities, investors have the right to do business freely, with 267 activities listed as conditional business activities. Vietnam has also abolished licensing procedure and applied more simple and practical registration procedure for foreign investors as related in the 2014 Law on Investment. The time frame for granting investment certificate to foreign investors has been drastically reduced from 45 days to 15 days. Tremendous efforts have been made to reform tax and customs procedure, social insurance, business startup, with the aim to reduce the processing time frame to 1/3 of the current level and equal to that of the 4 developed ASEAN nations. The reforms in Vietnam have been recognized. Within the Global Competitiveness Report 2015-2016 of the World Economic Forum, Vietnam ranks 56th out of 140 countries, up 12 places comparing with 2014. Meanwhile, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development's report shows that in 2014, Vietnam ranked 9th in terms of investment attractiveness, up by 2 places comparing with 2013. Another report of the Japan External Trade Organization shows that in the past 5 years, Vietnam has been the most attractive destination for Japanese investors. The country's labor cost is among the most competitive in Asia and Oceania. In terms of infrastructure development, Vietnam is currently constructing large-scale transportation structures. After the construction of the international terminals of Tân Sơn Nhất Airport in Ho Chi Minh City and Noi Bai Airport in Hanoi completed, the preparation for the construction of Long Thanh International Airport near Ho Chi Minh City is underway. This is expected to become an aviation hub of Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, the deep-sea ports are being quickly constructed or calling for investment. Apart from Cái Mép Thị Vải Port, which is dozens kilometers from Ho Chi Minh City that can receive vessels of 80,000 DWT, like Huyện Port in Hai Phong, the Deep Sea Port in the north can receive vessels of up to 100,000 DWT, is expected to be operational by the end of 2016. In the central region, Dung Quất Deep Sea Port, together with Tiên Sao Seaport in Da Nang, is expected to be constructed to receive vessels of 20,000 DWT by 2020. In the past few years, there's been significant changes in Vietnam's road system. The 4-lane national highway route helps reduce the travel time from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City by 1/3. Meanwhile, nearly 1,000 kilometers of expressway has been constructed to link industrial hubs in the north, central, and south with deep seaports or connecting Thailand and Laos to seaport in the central region. Thanks to that, the World Economic Forum assessment shows that Vietnam's competitiveness index in transport infrastructure climbs 36 places from the 103rd position in 2010 to 67th in 2015. With a population of over 90 million, Vietnam is the 13th most populous country in the world, of which 32% of the population resides in urban area and 68% lives in rural area. Therefore, in terms of human resource development, Vietnam is implementing educational reform from primary level to vocational school and university, aiming to provide vocational training to 70% of the 15 million labor force participants. This is an important factor to allow Vietnam shift from the advantage of low input costs towards high quality. In recent years, large corporations such as Samsung, LG, Canon, Intel, and Nokia have set up world's largest factories in Vietnam to take advantage of this strength. In 2015, the export turnover of Vietnam reaches nearly 330 billion US dollars. Vietnam has joined in 12 free trade agreements with the Trans-Pacific Partnership known as the latest, as well as Europe-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, Vietnam-Korea FTA, Vietnam-EU FTA. However, the country is determined to integrate further and take a bigger slice in the global value chain through FTA negotiations with European Free Trade Association, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and between ASEAN with partners of Northeast Asia and Oceania. With more than 10 FTAs, Vietnam is among leading Asia-Pacific nations in terms of joining in FTAs with 58 counterparts from the world's leading centers of politics and economy such as the US, Russia, the EU, China, and Japan, of which 15 are members of G20. Two-thirds of Vietnam's export goods will be exempted from import taxes. The official establishment of the ASEAN community in December 31st, 2015 has created free movement of capital, goods, services, investment, and skilled laborers, along with the reduction of import tax to just from 0 to 5%. The Vietnamese market is no longer being just 90 million people, but 600 million. With FTAs that Vietnam has joined, none of other Asian nations own a larger export market and lower tariff as Vietnam does. Foreign investors will benefit directly when investing into the country. By now, there's been 19,000 projects by investors from 105 countries and territories in Vietnam, with a total registered capital exceeding 270 billion US dollars. There are 8 reasons for investors to invest in Vietnam, considering the advantages the country owns. Vietnam is in the center of Southeast Asia with a young population and an abundant human resource. This is also among the 20 countries with great political stability and comprehensive administrative reform for higher competitiveness. More importantly, the country's economy is open, integrating actively to capture a bigger slice in the global value chains. Moreover, Vietnam is among countries with the average growth of 6 to 7.5% per annum within the last 20 years, per capita income of over 2,200 US dollars, purchasing power parity of 5,600 US dollars, and is on track to become an attractive large emerging market. To turn the goal of becoming part of the global value chain into reality, Vietnam is focusing on attracting supporting industry and human resource projects. As these have been addressed the barriers for the country's development, they open opportunities for investors. Vietnam is also calling on large corporations to invest in projects such as high-tech, biotechnology for agriculture, high-quality healthcare, and energy production from renewable sources. Vietnam is integrating further, improving its competitiveness, positioning itself in the global value chain, transforming into a big supplier of essential goods, an economic hub of the region, and offering opportunities to other countries to access the sea. With these unique advantages, there's no reason for investors to not shoulder with Vietnam on the road to prosperity.